Good tidings, all you beautiful people. This is League on Lock. Eric and Mark here with you guys. It is weekend recap time, the busiest of busy times, the debut weekend of the actual LCS Spring Split. It's not the lock-in. This is the real deal for all the marbles, and it's in week one. Everything on the line.
Oh yeah, the games are counting, and you better believe that the LCS squads are bringing their very best something to the Rift. I can't tell you its performance because absolutely not. It was a full-on regular LCS opening. It was the good, a lot of bad, and just a little bit more good, but mostly bad.
And some ugly. Definitely some ugly.
Oh, there's a lot of that. Yeah, absolutely.
We start with the good. Cloud9, 3-0 start to the weekend in complete and utter dominant fashion, especially their last two games. 34,000 gold lead combined. They ended those two games with. They annihilated TSM. They annihilated Immortals. And Blabber got player of the week. Absolutely deservedly so. He was smurfing on everybody. Stop picking Flashless Camille into this guy. What are you doing?
I need to know what is going on with teams. And I understand, trying to get away the meta picks out of the pick ban situation, trying to get things out of players like Perks, out of Sven, out of Vulcan's hands. But you're letting things like Udyr just fly right on in for your boy Blabber. Hey, Udyr doesn't take a lot of skill. Blabber has a lot of skill. That is not a good combination putting forward. Letting him champions, priority champions like that right now, the way that he performs on it, right out of the gates, the games start counting, and Blabber is putting up stats that are counting big time.
He had first blood in all three games, the highest damage percentage and kill participation of Cloud9 this week, and over 1,100, a positive 1,100 experience and gold differential at 15. It was the biggest jungle gap in all three games that we had.
And immediately showing that power, showing that form, and showing that, look, you want to compete, you want to talk about being the best jungler in this region, in the LCS, you got to be able to deal with the Blabber.
And so far, week one, that nobody could do that. Clean 3-0 for Cloud9, pretty much across the board. Everyone performed at least well. Fudge was getting camped on his end, especially in that last game against Immortals.
Yeah, and he responded very well. I think that was something that a lot of people have been talking about, and continuing some type of conversation that Fudge needs to be punished for some reason for coming into this league with a little bit of an attitude, with some type of cockiness to his performance. I still am questioning that, but now I'm questioning putting that attention up there in these matches, because your boy Fudge was absolutely able to weather the storm, get through it in a fine shape. And I tell you what, putting that attention up into that top side against C9, you are letting too many things go under the radar, too many skilled players go under the radar during those phases, and they'll be powerful enough to make sure you ain't letting them go under the radar anymore.
Yeah, it's pretty hard to stop all of the attack methods that Cloud9 has with this stacked roster. 100 Thieves also started 3-0, but very different power levels. They may have the same record, but you're feeling a lot more confident in Cloud9 than you are against 100 Thieves after week one, especially because if 100 Thieves played anyone but CLG in that game, they should be 2-1. They should be 2-1. That's it.
This is absolutely the least convincing 3-0 that we can see so far in the LCS from 100 Thieves, what they were able to do. I think maybe the best way to look at it is maybe 40% of this weekend was good performances and 60% is bad.
They annihilated Dignitas. Okay, annihilated them. Not even close.
Yeah, how much credit are we really going to afford them for that type of performance? Still, a lot of things that you want to see get better, improve for this 100 Thieves roster. I think one of the positives was the bot lane performance. I think Huhi, especially out of that bot lane duo, had a good weekend and provided some value. Good learning experiences for this 100 Thieves roster to go through all together type of situations, especially the four coming
from deficits.
Yeah, and look, if there's ever going to be a situation where you want to be learning from these things, beginning of the year is the most acceptable one, and be able to come out of a learning experience weekend of performance at 3-0, certainly lucky.
Yeah, be able to get a comeback and get the win, and also learn how to beat a team with Infernal Soul. You know, it's it's all positives for 100 Thieves. Closer also looked great early on, and carrying over from the lock-in. Blabber and Closer look like the clear-cut 2 best junglers in the LCS. It's only 1 week, but that carries over from the lock-in. Then we get to the match of the week, the real reason people were tuning in to the LCS this weekend. It's immediately going in the Hall of Fame for LCS games, an instant classic. We're talking the rivalry, TSM versus CLG. And just to double check, it is 2015, right? This is a rivalry for at the top of the table, right?
No, man. We've got over 200, 400, 600 years worth of Riot technology at this point. The CLG TSM rivalry, hey man, that is ancient technology. It has not passed into the present day.
It's still a rivalry. It's just who's less embarrassing. And to be honest, neither of them won that match.
No. Every region outside of the LCS won except for the LCS. That match, that was the pain.
I'm just gonna save DSM fans a lot of heartbreak and trouble for the upcoming season. Don't be waiting for the magic turnaround where these guys are competing for an LCS title in spring. Your hopes are you make playoffs and maybe get an upset as a low seed in the LCS. That's the height I'm now giving this TSM roster after seeing, again, 1 week and what we saw in lock-ins. They look so not cohesive and on the same page. I don't know what to say. Don't get your hopes up.
Reggie entered this year saying a stretch goal is TSM in the world's finals.
You got to do a lot of yoga to stretch that much, man.
Yeah, I think we need to reevaluate the stretch goal. Stretch goals to being a top 3 team in North America. That's your stretch goal. Because I tell you right now, you're really stretching to get into that level of play. And then we're looking at playoffs. Okay, a goal. That is a goal. That is something that you want to achieve. You need to improve, get better at to get to that level is playoffs. And outside of that, you don't even want to talk about that, TSM fans. Hey. What you saw this week, performance-wise, all across the board, you're not seeing, I think, any. Maybe 1 out of 10, 1 out of 20, 1 out of 100, maybe 1 check mark for good, because it was bad.
This could be a historic season for Team Solo Mid. It could be the first time they miss playoffs in the LCS. If they play at this level for 5 more weeks, they're not making playoffs.
No, it's very clear when you're talking about what is the issue, right? Well, number one, all 5 players are not performing at a level that is acceptable to them and what we've seen from them in the past,
is that
let
issue?
Alone together, right? That's kind of a problem. I think really the only positive outlook that I can really grab onto this weekend is I think Lost improved from the lock-in tournament. But the problem is that's not exactly saying a ton, because
it was looking like one of the worst AD carries in that tournament.
Right. So a very poor performance in the lock-in tournament, a little bit better, a little bit more stable. I guess this week is the right way to put it. At least in lane, especially, I thought was better. And as far as criticisms for Lost, a lot of them are about his in-lane performance, because when he gets to the team fights, he usually is. His actual skill is there. Now, the question has been whether TSM has been in the position to take a lot of these team fights at times. And then that comes to other members, and specifically your $6 million boy in Sword Art has unfortunately been a major problem for TSM so far in his individual play and his individual decision-making. And it's not about being all on him. And when I say individual, I mean it in his actions. The problem is that it's not on the same page with everybody else. And then we can start to have that discussion of whether, was it the right move actually to make this type of engage or whatever, blah, blah, blah. The problem is that you're having one guy try to make this play. And it's so clear that, Sword Art wants to go in. I've seen this from a mile away, but nobody else is going to go in, man. And that's a big problem.
Kill your expectations now for TSM and CLG. As soon as they get a lead, you know that they're going to lose the game because they can't close those ones.
Cody's son coming in, Hanser coming in, Bjergsen unretiring. All of those things do not fix what we've seen with TSM and instantly make them good type of team and all these other type of things. Because even if you want to, protect certain members or certain players on this roster, I think it was a bad weekend from Power of Evil. I thought it was a very unimpressive weekend from someone like Spica. And again, this is not, and that's on top of then, I think, atrocious atrocious drafting coming through from the coaching staff being unprepared. There's a big thumbs down weekend for TSM.
It was a big thumbs up weekend. If you're a fan of Fnatic, match of the week, Fnatic versus G2. It's supposed to be, the LEC had the song about Reckless breaking my heart and everything. Well, Bwipo was breaking Reckless's legs, neck, back, spine, everything in this game. The Volibear was absolutely disgusting. And it started with Bwipo getting solo killed by Wonder, and you think, oh, here we go again. The tilt is coming in from Bwipo. But nah, he was not tilted. He got 4 solo kills in this game alone.
The first 7 minutes of this game, you're watching it and you're like, oh no, here it is. This is the Fnatic we've been seeing all along so far, is this over aggression being punished, sloppy mistakes coming across. And then after those 7 minutes, a different story. It was all about what Fnatic was able to do and how they wanted to do it across the map. You said it with Bwipo. I'm going to say it with your boy Niski, because after it was Volibear, and you better believe that, yes, Volibear was a major issue, major power player a lot of times. You can ask Reckless about that one for sure. I'm sure he'd be able to provide many, many examples of when that was a problem. But absolutely, I want to give some props to your boy Niski. Hasn't been getting a lot of it since his move over to Fnatic. I think that this one was certainly a big pop-off performance and a big step-up performance from him, especially heading into that Caps matchup against G2, even with some net issues on the G2 side.
Yeah, can we stop pooping on Niski for a little bit, at least, Stout guys, and stop saying that he was just hard carried the whole time he was on Cloud9 and he was never good? That's some revisionist history that I don't want to be a part of. But really, the only reason G2 lost is because they had packet loss, right?
Look, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I'm going to say absolutely. If anybody else is, I'm sure everybody has been there, has played with some type of packet loss, some bad ping, whatever you want in that category. And it's bad. It's at times, and most of the time, unplayably bad. But that's in your games, in your normal games, your ARAMs, and your solo queue games. We're not even talking at the level that you need to expect from a professional match. And this one's tough because you look at the reasons, and I know that, talking about internet infrastructure in Berlin is a complicated topic in the first place, and I'm not going to pretend like I know a lot about that. And then you look at, on top of that, the players and what their choices were, and that's what G2 went with, what the players and where they wanted to play from, even knowing that this would be then a possibility that could play into their matches. Moving forward, I full on expect that this will not be an issue, or as much, at least, kind of monitored as much as possible by G2 to have this not be an issue moving forward. But that's certainly embarrassing to have G2 eSports and everything that's gone on and all that cash, and you still got that internet issue.
It's just added fuel, an added layer to this rivalry that continues to be the best rivalry in all of League of Legends. And I want a documentary just about G2 versus Fnatic, because Fnatic winning here just sets up the stage for even greater matches later on in the season. Sure, Fnatic, G2, Rogue, they're all great, but the team to beat in Europe right now is Schalke. They've handed G2 their first loss, Rogue their first loss. They now have the longest win streak in the entire LEC with 4 in a row. And I mean, across the board, you could talk about all 5 players. They look great.
The thing that is so exciting about having a Schalke team and having a Schalke team perform at this level is what we've been talking about with G2. You're talking about Fnatic, talking about Rogue, kind of, and Rogue really being the new one. This old guard at the very top, right? The established elite teams that you should expect in the LEC. And then you got Broken Blade and the Schalke boys coming through like a wrecking ball and breaking up that established order, breaking up the way everything looks to be. And they're saying, look, we're elite. You better treat us that way. And I think moving forward, it doesn't matter if you're a top team or a bottom team. You got to be looking at Schalke as a force to be reckoned with.
The miracle run has absolutely carried over into this split. And Abadage is looking like a top tier mid laner in the LEC. Sure, that tier behind Caps that everyone in the LEC is, but he's right up there towards the upper echelon. Gilius and Broken Blade, the synergy has been there on and off the Rift. We knew their personalities would click, but their playstyles have been clicking now the last couple of weeks as well.
Yeah, I think that's been really the thing that's kicked it into that overdrive, right? Take it to that next level. Of course, very early in the year, still talking about building up that synergy, getting into the groove of things, of course. But yeah, right out of the gates, it is that synergy between the jungle and the top. And when we found the most success for Broken Blade with TSM, it was when he was having that really good, clear synergy with the jungler at the time. And you're seeing it right now with the Schalke boys.
We touched on Rogue a little because they had that loss to Schalke, but man, they were pretty close to an 0-2 weekend. And the loss against Schalke is one thing when they're playing so well, and that was a back and forth game. So, okay, that's fine. Almost losing to Astralis is a little less forgivable. And when a team has Ocean Soul and you lose the game, I mean, that's a no bueno. But this is like the CLG 100 Thieves game. 9 other teams in the LEC are winning this game against Rogue.
Yeah, that's the best way to put it. The performance from Rogue this week is not acceptable from their fan base, from their organization, and what they should be able to put out and perform at that level. You didn't see it this week in both of their matches, which is unfortunate. Need to see that bounce back moving into the next week, because as we talked about them in the power rankings, they have that power, they have that capability, that talent to stay towards that top end, to be an upper level team in the LEC. This week was not upper level, I'll tell you that much.
Nah, this week was heading more to the middle. And for Astralis now, Nuke Duck is taking a step back from the starting position, team saying for personal reasons, which means we're getting Magic Felix, starting mid laner for them. We're finally going to get him to see him in the LEC.
Yeah, and this is one of those ones where, number one, happy for an opportunity to come the way of Magic Felix. This is someone that we've talked about over the last year or two, really, about waiting in the wings, being one of these talents that is, at least talent-wise, looks completely ready to take that next step, to be tested, proven at that higher level. Gonna get to see it now with this Astralis team, and I think Astralis has been better than expected. Certainly not going to use the word good yet. That's certainly not where we should be heading as far as evaluating them, but adding in Magic Felix, absolutely some excitement there, and looking forward to seeing what he can do and picking up experience all while so doing it.
Excitement is the key thing to be given to a roster like Astralis. There was plenty of excitement in the LCK and the LPL this week. We got to start with one of the best rivalries over the last couple of years in the LPL, IG versus RNG. It went the distance, of course, in Game 3, was absolutely the most Invictus Gaming game that you could possibly see, because within a single game, they went from peak potential world championship level IG to they might miss playoffs.
Blow in some Zonias and stopwatches when Barons had about 1,000 health. That's whoa. It's an IG if I've ever seen one.
They had a 4,000 gold lead early on in this game. They looked like the series was theirs. Credit to RNG, they got back into this. Xiaohu, the first couple of games, he was definitely getting annihilated by the Shy. It was a lesson in top lane for him, but he bounced back in Game 3. And Wei got a couple of nice Baron steals. He, like you said, just literally waltzed in as Udyr. I love Udyr Baron steals because he just runs in and presses.
Hey man, you've seen it in Twitch chat. He runs, he stuns. That's it. That's the Udyr, baby. That's the combo. That's all you got to know. And absolutely, he runs into the pit. He stuns in the pit, leaves with the Baron. That's how it goes.
That's how it goes. And now RNG moves up to 6-1.
Season 1 mechanics right there, baby.
I mean, that's why the junglers are just starring on this pick. 6-1 for RNG, 4-4 now for IG. We also had FPX and Top Esports on the Saturday, and this was not a back and forth series. I mean, there were moments where Top was getting into these games, but for the most part, 45 kills across the 2 games for FPX. They've now won not just 6 series in a row, but 2-0'd 6 series in a row. That's 12 games in a row that they've won now.
And I want to make sure that this does not go under the radar, because this is not just, 2 top teams clashing, one comes away the victor. This is very much talking about 2 of the teams that were heading in at the hottest they could be in the LPL. When you're talking about Top Esports and the form that they had shown us outside of that early, not pretty much playing with their monitors off type of look from Top Esports, they got it back together and they were looking like the Top Esports that we'd been talking about last year. And then, of course, you've heard us go on about FPX and what they've been able to do. Well, they were an unmovable object, my man, because they kept it going in that series. Absolutely full press onwards. Incredibly impressive stuff. Continuing from FPX. We're just counting down the days, my man, until we can get that big top showdown between them and EDG.
Yeah, it's the match to watch at the LPL. They're clearly distancing themselves as those top two teams in China. Quick wrap up, rapid fire through the LCK over the weekend. Big overreactions. T1 stomps Freddie Brion with this lineup with Zeus, the Young Guns, and Faker. Freddie Brion's the worst team in the LCK. It was a stomp, no question. What you needed to see out of T1. They're 4-4, guys. It's Freddie Brion. Let's chill out.
Yeah. Worst team in the LCK, best name in the LCK. That's absolutely.
Not even a debate.
With our boys, the Reddit bros at Freddie Brion. But you got to give props to Zeus and T1, what they did. Again, continuing with that lineup of Zeus alongside Faker in that mid lane.
Keep it going.
Love to see it. Keep it moving. Again, not going to give you really a token credit for taking down the bros, but yeah, taking care of business is an important thing when you're a T1 organization, and especially with the record they had to start the year.
It's the right direction. Just keep going down that step. Give us more wins if you're T1. Damwon, it wasn't utter domination against DRX, who was second place. Game 1 was close for a lot of it, but it's Damwon. They still showed that, yeah, you gotta make some work, DRX, if you want to actually come for that top spot in the LCK.
Yeah, I come away with that series seeing Damwon, again, being Damwon and showing us the power in every facet that you would expect from that top table team. And then, yes, DRX, at the very least, provided more of a fight than I was expecting heading into this one. And that was even giving them more credit than I would have at the beginning of the year. So, okay, from DRX, I want to see how you bounce back. I want to see how you keep moving forward and trying to put more wins on the board.
We're also going to need a bounce back from Hanwha Life. The biggest surprise of the weekend was them getting 2-0 stomped by Live Sandbox. And this is, we'd been praising Hanwha. They'd been playing better than we expected throughout the whole season. And this is easy, far and away the biggest letdown series that they've had all season.
Yeah, and to me, this is just dropping the ball in preparation. That is what I saw from this one in this match. Because otherwise, you're looking at the individual performance. You're looking at the individual players. It has to be there, and the expectation is that it will always be there for a team like Hanwha Life. So to drop this one against Sandbox, sure, thumbs up to Sandbox. They were doing some good things out there on the Rift, but absolutely, you better believe that from the Hanwha side, this looked like a lack of preparation.
Yeah, the top side of the map was a big issue, even though they did sub in. Morgan and Dudu both got some playing time. Arthur didn't look that great. I mean, you could even talk about guys like Chovy and Def not looking that great in this series across the board. They're still sitting pretty at 5-3, our Hanwha Life, tied with Gen G and DRX. It's the week off for the LPL and LCK. No games, so we'll have plenty of power rankings to get through as the week goes on, but they do have the time off, and no games. We're going to be lost, Mark.
Hey, no games. They just are waiting. They say, "Oh my God, the LCS is back.
I gotta go through those VODs, man.
I gotta watch those TSM games, man. Oh, guys, do yourself a favor, please. Enjoy your week break. Don't do that to yourself.
I mean, if they want to go out for a fun time, they can watch some LCS on the weekend. It's always fun to watch. But that is it today for League Unlock. Eric and Mark here with you guys. As always, thanks for hanging. We'll catch you on the flippity flip.